Lately and in past years, we've heard that we need to move on. Recently, Mr. Kraft voiced that now that the mayor's extracted the punishment of Mr. Crow by censure, we need to move on. Mr. Kraft made these statements years ago when people criticized council actions. He claimed not everyone will be happy, but let the council do its business and vote, and then we move on. They wanted us to move on after EMS was outsourced. Move on. Don't keep revisiting a topic over and over. Really? Is that true? Well, let's look at the driving range and see if we're ready to move on. In 2008, the lighted driving range at Ruth Park was opened. At that time, it was the city's official position on why the driving range was to be open. Since the city said since 1999 the golf course has run a deficit of over $600,000 in subsidies from the city's general fund. The dialogue about the driving range had been going on since 2004. Revenues from the range will balance the golf course budget and provide needed improvements at the course. Driving range proposals represent fiscal responsibility. Staff has undertaken a complete financial study of revenues, development costs, and operating expenses. The city's official position went further to say that this is not all about money, but the range provides an enhanced service, increases play, and creates an opportunity for learning. As a learning center, the driving range will be a focal point for youth instructional services. As a national affiliate of the First Tee program, the golf will be promoted as a lifetime sport for all. The city's official position went further and explained how the lighted driving range was designed. The design of the range was developed by a professional golf course architect funded by a nonprofit University City Parks Foundation. Consideration of all the aspects, including parking, lighting, and safety, were all incorporated in the plan. All the aspects of the project were reviewed by the Park Foundation, Park Commission, and City Council. All required permits have been secured to construct the driving range. It was clear the city thoughtfully and carefully planned the lighted driving range from every angle. The City Council voted to approve it and it was built. So we move on, right? In the spring of 2011, it was discovered that Layman Walker, the city manager here for less than a year after Mayor Welch and Mr. Kraft brought him to University City from Evanston, Illinois, without the national search that was promised, without interviewing any other candidate for the job, Mr. Walker decided to turn off the lights. Ethan Schuman had complained. Mr. Kraft stated clearly the city should not be running a driving range. He made it clear he would have not voted for it to begin with. Meetings were held to accommodate Mr. Schuman's concerns, compromises were offered, things were changed, but the lights remained off. That was until it was discovered the City Council had voted to improve hours of operation for the lighted driving range, and Mr. Walker did not have authority to shut them off. At the same time, the city was asked to return grant money because the grant money was intended for a lighted driving range. So again, a vote, and the city had a lighted driving range. 2 votes were taken. Each time they passed. Each time council members Kraft, Glicker, and Mayor Welch voted against those measures. Did this stop? Did we move on? No. Mr. Schuman sued the city claiming the lights bothered him. Mr. Schuman asked to be paid the cost of the lost value of his house. The lawsuit did not ask the lights to be turned off. The lawsuit did not ask that any improvements be made. Did the city defend the case? Did they fight it? Did the city make Mr. Schuman prove his lost value? Based on what the city's provided to me to date, the answer is no. I asked the city for the discovery of the case, the information that Mr. Schuman would have provided to prove his case. I was told there was none. None. So the city did not demand from Mr. Schuman to prove the lost value of his house. Mr. Schuman estimated the lost value was around 20%, assuming his home was worth $500,000, and it's not. It would have been $100,000. The city could have written him a check for $100,000 and been done. But what did the city do? The city negotiated a settlement that gave Mr. Schuman $25,000 and an estimated $400,000 in capital improvements.
30 seconds, please.
So Mr. Schuman extracted from the city a 6-figure deal and never had to prove his case. That seems very odd. Now we're told that the driving range, we can't afford it. If the city can't afford it, why did Mr. Walker agree to it? Mr. Walker had all the information available at the time of the settlement to know if the city could afford it. He prepares the budget. He knows how much money we have. His staff can determine how much the golf course makes. The city knew all of this, but agreed to a huge settlement. Why? Why would somebody buy something they say they can't afford? Maybe they were never going to follow through on the settlement. Did our city officials, can I have 15 seconds?
Okay.
Thank you. Did your city officials say, if we make this settlement unaffordable, we can have them turn off the lights? Exactly what they wanted to do in 2011. It appears Lehman Walker agreed to something we can't afford, so the lights will be turned off. Quite simply, it's fishy. It puts money in Mr. Schuman's pockets, and they get the lights turned off. Move on indeed to another scheme at our expense.